There has been this debate about what caused Donald Trump. Why do people support him? How did he win a Republican primary? And the debate has basically had two sides. There are the people who say it's economic anxiety, it's bad trade deals, it's low wages, it's competition with immigrant workers, it's the recession. This is a normalization of Trump, and it's probably true. And then there are the people who say it's racism or racial resentment or anxiety about demographic change. And that's probably true too. But they're not both equally true. And now we're a bit closer to knowing which one is predominant. The polling company Gallup has been interviewing voters about their opinions on Trump for months. And in doing that, they had amassed this huge data set. Jonathan Rothwell, a researcher there, he cleaned it and he found they actually had 87,428 Americans who had told Gallup whether they held a favorable or unfavorable view of Donald Trump. And here's what was even better. They knew where those people lived, all the way down to their individual zip codes. So Rothwell decided to look. What kinds of communities did Trump supporters live in? What was going on around them? Before we get to his results, though, I think it's important to talk for a minute about the economic anxiety argument, what it predicts, how you would prove it. If you were trying to prove that out, you would say Trump supporters are probably struggling more economically than most Americans. That's why they're willing to turn to such a radical solution. You would say that they're probably likely to be unemployed, that they're concentrated in areas that have been hit really hard by trade and immigration. That's why they're so angry about those issues specifically. That's more or less what Rothwell went looking for, but he didn't find it. It turned out Trump supporters were richer than average. They weren't more likely to be unemployed. This was true, by the way, even when you just looked at white voters. This is not a situation where downscale whites support Trump in these huge numbers. And here's what's even more interesting. Trump supporters don't live in places with lots of immigrants. The fear they have of immigrants is a fear of distance, not of contact. They don't live in places unusually hard hit by trade either. This isn't a phenomenon of Rust Belt cities that have lost manufacturing jobs. So what can we say about Donald Trump supporters? We can say they live in very, even unusually white communities. We can say they live in communities where white people have unusually poor health and unusually low economic mobility from one generation to the next. This isn't what a candidacy powered by economic anxiety would look like. This isn't the pattern of support we would predict and find. And that doesn't prove Trump's support is powered by racial resentment either. The study doesn't go that far. But it is something that we need to find a better way to talk about and to explore and to test. Here's a dynamic I think we've started to see with Trump. He is pretty clear about what he wants, what he's worried about. The ways in which he was different than other Republicans was also very clear. He is centrally worried about immigrants. He wants a wall, a ban on Muslim travel. He wants America to be like it was some time ago. Remember, he doesn't say make America great. He says make it great again, turn back the clock, make it like it was. He's worried about competition from foreign countries like China. It's a lot of fear of the other, a lot of fear of people who are not like, quote unquote, us. This is a moment of profound demographic change in America. A majority of infants under the age of 3 are non-white. America's foreign-born population has gone from about 10 million in 1960 to more than 40 million today. That's why you have to press 1 for English. The President of the United States is an African-American man. There is a lot of change happening here, and it is happening fast. And there are a lot of people uncomfortable with it, who feel their status slipping away, who feel the country they know, the country they grew up in, is changing. They feel the way because it is changing. You constantly hear this idea that the grievances of Trump supporters should be taken seriously, even if you don't like Trump, and that's true. But taking them seriously means admitting what they really seem to be, not just sanitizing them, pretending they can be calmed with better trade deals or more tax credits. Donald Trump succeeded in the Republican primary because he was willing to say what other Republicans weren't. While the party was trying to become more pro-immigrant, more cosmopolitan, he was willing to speak to a class of grievance that neither Democrats nor Republicans wanted to deal with at all.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
And even now, you see how powerful the elite resistance is to having this conversation. You see how much the political system, including the media, wants to say, no, we're all fine with immigrants, with Muslims, with a black president. This is just about trade. It's just about employment, the labor market, Goldman Sachs. But I don't think the data backs that up. And taking these concerns seriously, it doesn't mean agreeing with them or even making concessions to them. But it does mean acknowledging that they are what they are, that they exist, that these are opinions a lot of people in this country hold. And it's important to do that, to find a language in which we can talk about that, because even if Donald Trump does go away after this election, the feelings, the fears, the anger that powered him won't.